Announcing the stimulus package right now at the Union Buildings. Let's break it down for you. We have our own panel of experts sitting right here in the studio. Lumkile Mondi is a political economist. He's from the lecturer at the Wits School of Economics as well as Business Science. He joins us, as well as Thandeka Qubule Mbeki, economics editor. Thank you very much indeed for your time. Lumkile, maybe let me just start with you. I see the old share is up, but the last time we looked it was about 1.5%. The rand is seemingly smiling. Indicator of sentiment.
Well, not only sentiment, it's really the value of our country. If countries were a value, I think what President Ramaphosa has brought, even after his election in December, and as president of the ANC, but also in this year, president of the country, is that the value of South Africa as an investable destination through what is presented today, that value is being reflected by our markets, the JSE, but also in the currency market through the rand, really showing some strength and stability. Yeah,
there are various issues that he touched on, such as mining, tourism, and agriculture. I want to break that down, but Thandeka, on the face of it, should South Africans be optimistic?
I think they've got reason to be hopeful. I think that the statement by the president today was an indication that the country is bootstrapping. And what's admirable about it is the inclusiveness, the multi-stakeholder approach that he has embarked on, including citizens, inviting them to do something about the economy, inviting business and inviting the state to perform better. And we were just saying off air with Lumkile that our president heralded a new era today, and that is an era of seriousness about the economy. Gone are the days of the sort of caricature, fooling around and not taking the economy seriously. Today, whether you agree with the measures or not, you have a serious package to interrogate and to seriously consider. I think that it was a good tightrope that he walked. He indicated that he had limited fiscal space to play with, and that he could not increase the borrowing ceiling to stimulate the economy any further, and that he had to work with what he had. So that was the nation bootstrapping. So in this sense, he was even-handed, and he indicated the willingness to deal with the fragility of the state and the incapacity of the state to execute by creating this conserving of energy and skill and of intent inside the presidency through a panel and through the fund to actually seriously give focus and precision to the effort and the initiative to regenerate the economy.
Lumkile, the seriousness of this plan notwithstanding, does the state have the capacity and the capabilities to implement it?
In fact, I mean, what President Ramaphosa has done today, and as I said earlier, throughout when he's really taken center stage, is really to create that hope for a lot of us, that we can have a reformation of the state, and he symbolizes that. So in that process, a state that's been hollowed out purposefully by those that were in power for the past 9 to 10 years needs that. And for him, as Thandeka was highlighting, that bringing back some of the capabilities inside the presidency is recognizing that we're not as strong as we are in capability terms. Therefore, it's an attempt of rebuilding the state, rebuilding capability with an aim of really sending a signal to a number of us who have been in the state now outside, that maybe we need to look bigger and say, can we play a role now to really supplement what the president is doing for a growing economy that is inclusive, that can address the challenges of marginalization of African people.
Yeah. Okay, let's run through some of the aspects that he mentioned. Tourism, there's going to be immediate changes to the visa. A big change in terms of how we approach tourism?
A big change, because remember that we've got amazing flora and fauna. Our people are wonderful, but more importantly, this is a sector that touches all our subsets of economy, rural, urban, even business, as I was talking to. So in that sense, we're able to create small businesses at micro level, Utabankulu, if people have huge potential there in the Pondoland, and various sectors of society. So tourism is huge, but more importantly, also is one of our export earning subsectors. So in that regard, I'm very, very happy that at least the realization of the visa process and the trial towards e-visas, which makes it easier for people to have mobility, is going to add a lot of value. I'm looking forward to more billions coming into that sector, as well as the labor intensity of the sector to create opportunities for our people.
Yeah. Thandeka, mining also has a huge potential to drive long-term growth as well, isn't it?
Yes, and he did say that part of this package, one of its characteristics was its targeting of mining. The Zwane bill that caused a lot of contention is off the table, effectively. And he's trying to move to stabilize the industry and bring some kind of coherence and unity in that sector. He also says that Parliament is, the Cabinet is signing off on the latest charter, and he also indicated that once stability is restored to the sector, exploration and investment can return.
What about agriculture? Here's a real potential of creating thousands of jobs, isn't it?
Well, I was a bit surprised why he didn't give some tax breaks in both agriculture and mining, because those industries are both in need of some love and care and some stimulation. Typically, stimulus packages involve certain targeted industries getting tax breaks. I was a little surprised by that. And I was also surprised by the absence of concern about the leakage, especially from mining, illicit flows, and the plugging of the holes from illicit flows. The illicit flows issue was present in the document released by the National Planning Commission, but if we could recoup ourselves from those who bleed our assets and our tax dues and send them abroad and to, these bulletproof tax havens, would be so much the better, since we're trying now to get our funds together and to mobilize funds into a number of areas.
Lumkile, what about this infrastructure fund plan? Is it anything new? I know that in India, Narendra Modi has been mobilizing billions of dollars in terms of securing the airports and stuff like that, in terms of infrastructure, power plants, etc. But is this anything new here?
Well, in fact, it reminded me of the 90s. Some private sector company started something called South African Infrastructure Fund. There's a Dr. Chen who had come from the World Bank, worked for that entity. And that fell flat. So the use of the name South African Infrastructure Fund is a very attractive one, because remember that the Economic Freedom Fighters have been talking about the Sovereign Wealth Fund. And I think it sounds similar. But what is attractive about this one is the fact that he's brought in, or is bringing in, a multidisciplinary team, engineers, financial people, economists across the board, and lawyers who have capability. And I like the fact that the president says he's going to bring in other partners, whether it's DFI, and I'm looking potential here around asset managers who are looking for an asset class which is long term, that can give them those returns. So that 400 billion rand that the president talking about could be tripled if we bring in the asset managers into that. So it's very good, it's positive for the country, because infrastructure lowers the cost of doing business and can stimulate the economy and bring in other sectors through multiplier effects.
Lumkile, Thandeka, thank you very much indeed for your insights and as well as your time and expertise. We really appreciate it. Thandeka, I know it's going to be a long day for you, so stick around. Let's take a quick break. More analysis after this. Stay with us.